Welcome to Hot Flash Chronicles, where midlife is messy, menopause is madness, and we're sweating through it together.
We're Angie and Shelly, two caffeine-fueled, slightly inappropriate grandmas who say what everyone's thinking.
So grab a drink, crank up the AC, and let's dive in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hot Flash Chronicles podcast. My name is Angie.
I'm Shelly.
And today, this is a first for us. We get to have a guest. And when I was thinking of who I would want as our first guest, you guys have heard me talk about her probably more than I talk about Jason Momoa. So
That's a lot.
This is the incredible Sue Bryce. She's been my mentor for over a decade, and I am absolutely thrilled to have you here, Sue.
Yay. Clearly you love awesome Polynesians.
Obviously. I talk about Jason Momoa a lot. So, Sue, what an honor to have you here, first of all.
Yay!
Like, such an absolute pleasure. We talk a lot about menopause, and you are kind of the one that brought it to my attention that I was about to hit it. So, and you did a photo shoot last year where you brought in people that were going through menopause. So I would love to hear what your perspective is on this season of life that you are in.
It sucks, but it's changed. And it's changed in the 10 years I've gone through menopause. So from 45 to 54, I would say 8 years were 4 years of perimenopause, 4 years no period postmenopause. I've been on HRT for 3.5 years. I'm fully regulated now. But that time, I knew nothing about it, so I wasn't prepared for it. The anxiety came in first, and I didn't know that was perimenopause. So I'm 45. I run a big business. And I have crippling anxiety. To a point where I started to say to people, I have anxiety, like I got it on the toilet seat. And I realized one day I said that I've got anxiety, and I said it, and I was like, that's not true. I did not have anxiety before this. So when did I catch anxiety? Right. And that was the moment that I started to read about perimenopause. Now, we call a lot of things different in my country. Like you have PMS, we have PMT. It's just different words. Same thing, just a different meaning, right? And so I figured there must be a New Zealand word for perimenopause. So I ring my best friend who's a psych nurse, and I'm like, hey, so I've just found out about this thing. What do we call perimenopause? And she goes, we call it perimenopause. And I was like, no. Like, it's the stage before menopause that's really significant. What do we call it, though? And she's like, it's called perimenopause. And I was like, yeah, but I'm 47, 46, and I've never heard that word in my life. And she goes, well, it's the stage before menopause. And I was like, no, I'm in it. Nobody's told me about this. Now, that's all good. Menopause has always been there. It's something old ladies go through. And then all of a sudden, I realized my mum breezed through it. So I didn't remember a time when my mum was a psycho or having hot flashes, or my mum truly, very holistic, very natural, breezed through it. Lucky her. I was a psychopath. So I realized not everyone's going to have it easy, and some people will have it easy, and that's cool. Props to you. But for those that are struggling, especially those with neurodiversity, your neurodiverse brain is going to 10x, no different than it did when you were a teenager with teenage hormones. Yeah. And it's just going to so significantly impact your journey forward. And I feel like if women work that out, that horrible phase in your mid-40s where you don't know who you are, your body is betraying you, you feel so frustrated, irritated, agitated, homicidal rage, you don't know why.
Yep.
And you hate yourself because of your own behavior and the way people look at you when you act a certain hormonal way or lash out at people. And it starts to really impact you. And then I read that more women between the age of 45 and 55 commit suicide than any other time.
Wow.
I was like, it's because of menopause. It has to be.
Has to be.
Sue, you bring up something really important that I think would resonate with everybody, which is, how did we not know this was going to happen, or how big it was?
Why isn't it talked about?
And why isn't it? Yeah. Like, why aren't we having these I mean, same thing. I went to my doctor a few years ago and I was having like increased anxiety because I had it before. I was having insomnia, which is a real common thing with menopause. And I'd never had that before. And they said the same thing. They said, well, you're in perimenopause. And I'm like, wait, I'm an educated person. I keep up on what's going on in the world. I know my mom had menopause. How is this happening? And how did I not have a clue that these things were related?
Right.
Yeah.
And talking about the neurodivergence, I have a joke that like I'm ADHD and I'm on the spectrum and I'm in menopause. So that's 3 levels of I have no idea what's going on. Right.
Yeah.
It's real.
3 levels of brilliance and 3 levels of crazy, depending on how it's served up.
Exactly.
So true. So Shelly, I know that you want to, because I've known Sue for over a decade, and you said that you had a couple questions that you'd like to ask of her because she does, she hears about you a lot, but she had some questions she wanted to ask.
Sure.
So one thing, Angie, first of all, Angie she respects and admires you so much. Your name is brought up often. So I've learned a lot about you through her. And something that I thought was interesting is you're still, I mean, I'm 59, I'm going to be 60. You're pretty young for the kind of career you've had, the amount of success you've had. And something I wondered was you have a lot of people who are like Angie, like she's not the only person who looks to you. But what has it been like to be a woman in a career where you have so many people who look to you as a mentor for advice? And does that feel like a responsibility?
Huge. I feel like men enjoy an audience for the adulation. I feel like women feel a responsibility to give to the audience and to protect the audience and to always, connect with the audience. It's such a different weight that belongs to you. And so what happens is when you feel the weight of what you have to give all of these people, that just gets really overwhelming. But the truth is what I really want out of that is the connection, right? I want to be able to connect to people and move them and help them move forward. And there's only one thing that really connects. Like you can have all this knowledge, you can walk the walk, but what really connects with people is that you do it, that you've done it. Like they don't really respect you until you're doing it. Mm-hmm. And that's the moment when you're starting anything, you've got to start doing it because people will rag on you for doing it badly or starting, but they don't respect you until you're doing it. And then inevitably when you're doing it. So the one thing I learned is the only thing that I needed to focus on was my own evolution. And that many times in the years, I got really stagnant with my content. I got stagnant trying to think about what people wanted and every time I got stagnant, it was shown to me very clearly that I need to take the next step in my personal self. And every time I would take the next big step in my personal self, I would show my people that I'm doing it. And when I'm doing it, it gives them permission to do it. And doing it is where you get your identity. So the weight that I've ever felt always came from my own evolution. And obviously I get stuck sometimes, just like everybody else, on the next step and the next step. And I always say to people, I'm just further on the path than you. Like I've been at this longer and I've been walking the path a little longer, but other people can catch up to you if you get stuck on the path. So that for me is the constant evolution of myself. Nobody follows you unless you evolve. And my brand has changed in 35 years. My photography has changed in 35 years. I've changed. My message has changed. And so you got to keep evolving that brand and being that person, but it's only my own evolution. And yeah, I keep thinking to myself, if people follow me because I did it and then they do it, they follow their own permission to walk this path, then I just have to keep walking my path. And that's the most important part. And that's why, when I went through things like menopause and stuff like that, I was like, I have to talk about it. Even though half my audience is male, they live with women. They love women. They have, girls, daughters, and men need to understand what this is. So I was just like, try not to be shy about anything. Try to constantly evolve my life. And if I'm not doing the walk, people won't listen. They don't listen to talk.
Yeah.
Totally. And I think that your transparency in your walk is what makes you such an incredible educator and mentor, because you don't hold anything back.
No,
You
there's
don't
nothing to
gatekeep.
hide really, is there? Because if you hide something, it doesn't take long for the internet to work out that you're hiding something, and then they expose you. It's kind of like,
For
I've
real.
seen it a million times. I would rather, what is it? I would rather be disliked for who I am than liked for something that I'm not anyway, because it's not real. And yeah, so try and keep it real always, but the evolution, what am I going to evolve into next? And not the evolution that I think people expect of me.
Right.
Because whatever you expect of me is not what I'm evolving to. I'm evolving to the next level in myself. And so whatever that is, if you can keep doing that, you'll stay in business because you'll keep evolving your business as well as yourself. Right.
100%. And we've done a couple episodes lately. The one that we just dropped yesterday was Seasons of Life.
Ooh.
So we go through, like, spring is like when you're young, and summer is, midlife. And then we're in fall right now. And then we're going into winter is when you're like a senior.
Winter is coming.
Right,
Winter is
coming.
right around
And
the
then
bend.
one that we did a couple of episodes ago was what would you tell your younger self?
Oh, I like it.
So, and I use the example that Nikki gave of, like, when she's doing negative self-talk, she visualizes sitting little Nikki down with her little braids and saying those things to her.
Yeah.
I would love to know, what would you, in the season you're in, tell the previous season, Sue?
Ooh, have more fun, relax more, stop trying to be everything you don't have to be. You're enough. It's balance is more important. Balance and boundaries is more important than success, and just it's all the normal stuff. Like, just all the normal stuff you tell people. Don't take it all so seriously. Don't work yourself to death. Give yourself more grace. Understand more. You know what? All of that is bullshit, right? Because at the end of the day, it's all the same stuff. The secret is to wake up every single day and do what you want.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you want, with who you want, how you want. And I want you to look how you want, like in your body. If your body wants to look a certain way, look that way. If you want blue hair, and if you want to express yourself with your clothing, be who you are. Be it. Choose it every single day. Choose you first. Choose your time first, and choose what lights you up first. You can fill everybody else up when you're full. And as women, we just don't do that. And if you're not choosing what you want, you're on the wrong path. If you're building somebody else's dream, somebody else's business, you're building somebody else's life. And, I love that the question, what do you want? If somebody honestly looks at me and says, I don't know what I want, then you're living somebody else's life.
Yes.
And if you
Thank
can't
you.
tell me what you want, I mean, you could be craving what you want, yearning it and pushing it away, but you still know. But if you don't know what you want, then you have not asked yourself that question. That's what I would say to myself. What do you want from this? How much money do you want to make? Not, wouldn't it be great to have 50,000 followers, or wouldn't it be great to earn $1 million? Like, all of that, sure. But if it's what you really want, then hold to that. And then every day it's like, you can be accommodating, you can evolve, but stay with what you want and everything.
I think people, what you're saying here is so important, because I think sometimes you don't recognize that when you do that, when you kind of start saying, here's what I want, I'm going to do what I want, sometimes there will be other people who won't want you to do those things.
That's why the word balance comes with boundaries. I don't say, everyone says, what is work-life balance? And I was like, ugh. I couldn't tell you. I worked 15 hours a day until I didn't. And then I learned about work-life balance. Balance comes with boundaries.
Mm.
If you give away your time to everybody else, you leave none for yourself to create a business or to create a life or do anything for yourself. It's that simple. What we're working with always is just the guilt and putting ourselves first. Men put themselves first. Men are taught to put themselves first. Okay.
Mhm.
So how can we possibly, teach our sons that you get up and have your breakfast and get ready for your day, when we're teaching ourselves to get everybody else ready for their day? And it's just one of those things. It's like, we're just not taught to ask for more. And so in business and in life, we don't ask for more. And this is one of the biggest things for women. So it's time to start really aligning yourself with what you want. in order to get boundaries, balance, you have to have some boundaries. You've got to say no. And if people are getting angry at you for saying no, for doing stuff you don't want to do, then you were doing stuff for other people you didn't want to do. That's on you. Where do you allocate your time? That's the biggest one.
We did a podcast about trying to be like Wonder Woman, and I think what we try to do is say, we're going to be authentic to ourselves. We're going to have these goals, but we're still going to try to do all the other stuff that people like. We try to do us as the add-on to all the expectations that the woman's role has. Like, you're the caretaker, you're going to get everybody ready for work in the morning, you're going to do that. But now I'm also going to try to add in the stuff for myself. And I think what you're saying really resonates, and that might not be possible. You might have to set the boundaries and the balance, and you might not be able to do everything.
I reckon the hardest balance would be motherhood, right? I watch all my friends raise their children, and some of them are in their 20s. My nieces and nephews are in their 30s now. There's a different way a toddler talks to their mother than they do their father.
Mm-hmm.
The different way a toddler and a young child requests and talks to their mum, and they talk to their dad with more respect, like somebody outside of their family home. I read recently that the reason that children do this to their mums specifically is they don't see the mother as separate from them. They see them as an extension of them.
Interesting.
So they talk to the mother almost like their other self, right? Give me food. Like, give me what I want, and I need this. And intuitively, mum knows so much that they ask for a lot intuitively. And you think about that. I watched all these kids. I'm like, these kids are kind of being disrespectful to their mum, but not to their dad. Are we teaching this? And I was like, no, the mother is an extension of the child. So it's very hard for a mum to put boundaries around children. Because as far as I'm concerned, if you put a boundary around a child and you feel guilt, which every woman does, the first thing your child needs to say to literally drop you on the floor would be, you're not a good mum. You're not showing up for me as a mother. And any mother would be beside herself. So I'm just like, that's the hardest thing, is you cannot separate yourself from your children, which tells me then if you want to do anything for you, instead of like taking time away from them, it has to be done with them in some way when you really want something.
I love that. And talking about the balance and boundaries, that is something that you have taught me over the last decade. A lot about money mindset, about manifestation, about self-value.
It's all about keeping it for yourself. Keep money for yourself. Keep self-love for yourself. Keep time for yourself. Keep all of this stuff for yourself. And that's the whole secret. That's money secret. That's self-love secret. That's abundance. It's everything. If you haven't featured your part in this, you can't manifest for other people. You can't manifest for your children. You can manifest a life that your children will share, but you can't manifest for them. You have to learn how to do it for you. So you put yourself first in the manifestation, and then everybody reaps the reward of what you have gained here.
Exactly.
We've just got to keep coming back to that. The more I have, the more I can share. The more I ask for, the more I can give. The more I become, the more I am. It's just, don't be afraid to ask for more. You're not hurting anybody. If you are hurting people, you've set that up in a way that you have no boundaries. So that's a good lesson to learn. And what is it? If somebody gets angry at you for setting a boundary, they're the ones that are losing from this equation. And you were setting the boundary to get your time back. So they were supposed to lose in this equation. If somebody gets angry at you for setting a boundary, for saying no, then that's 100% they're using you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's people are selfish, right?
Yes.
It goes back to people are selfish.
Yep.
And you have to be selfish for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We're built that way to be selfish.
No is a complete sentence, and you don't have to say sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But you can say no without saying sorry to somebody.
I've just recently started saying that apologizing used to be my superpower, but I'm trying to hang that cape up. So it's something that I just naturally, as a reflex, do. And I know that you've said that.
Stop apologizing.
Yeah, well, you've told me that many times, and you're right. But you've said in New Zealand, it's uncommon for people to be over apologizers.
Yes, it's it's the weirdest thing. Even when we bump into each other, we're not all like, sorry. Yeah, it's just it's cultural for sure. You guys say sorry for everything.
We do. I definitely do.
Yeah.
And I think that some of that goes to the RSD of being ADHD, the worrying that everybody's always upset with me.
No, I think it's definitely a cultural thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I believe you.
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing I learned about when you're saying no is a complete sentence, a thing I learned a few years back from a preventative medicine doctor that I was seeing, she said, because I was talking about how busy I was and how hard it was for me to plan out my schedule and this and that. And she said, no is a very powerful word. And she said, every time you're saying yes to something, you're saying no to something else because you only have 24 hours in a day. So if you're yesing everything, there's no way you're going to be able to get through all that stuff with quality, with, and she said, no is absolutely an appropriate thing. It's an honest thing. If you really can't fit something into your schedule, it's wrong to say yes if you're not going to be able to follow through with it. And I think women have a hard time.
This is the bit for me. Every time you say yes when you want to say no, you eat a massive serving of resentment.
Mm-hmm.
It's so massive and it's like black tar. And it's going into your body and it's going to become a whole lot of horrible, evil things. It's resentment. Because in the moment you said yes, when your mouth said yes, but your soul said no, you betrayed yourself, you lied, and in that moment you ate so much bitterness and resentment, and it's going to hurt your body.
Yeah. It's stress, it's anxiety, it's all of that stuff.
Can you say no to someone can you disappoint another in order to be true to yourself? That's from the poem, it's Araya Mountain Dreamer is the poem. And she says, can you disappoint another to be true to yourself?
Yeah. I think a lot of people can't. I really think a lot of women, especially women, I don't think men struggle with this as much.
No, just start disappointing people and be okay that they're disappointed in you.
People have disappointed me. I mean, I know that. So it's like, why do we feel like we can't? It's a part of human nature. Sometimes we're going to be
human nature, the part of woman nature. I mean, disappointing people literally makes me feel deeply uncomfortable. If somebody was disappointed in me, I feel their judgment. I'd feel the weight of that rejection. I would do anything to get rid of it and to compensate for it. But it's so ridiculous. No, I'm going to disappoint people left, right, and center.
Yeah, people have to earn that. I know that I was about to make a big medical decision, but I was afraid to step forward because I didn't want to disappoint my doctor. And it's like, what the fuck am I thinking? Like he's not going to think about this ever.
No, are you married to this doctor?
No, I see him a few times a year. So why am I going to stop progress in my own health because I want to people please somebody who probably won't even think of it?
Doesn't even care.
I mean, then he's not going to remember your name.
Yeah. It's just so ingrained in us as women. It is just so ingrained
to be good girls.
We do not disappoint, that we come through and do all the things. And it's funny because when you say yes, when you really don't want to, I've actually even said it like this: fine. Yes, I'll do it. And with that attitude. And it's like, that's obviously wrong. And the other person, though, they'll still say, well, she said yes.
I burn with resentment.
It's obvious you didn't want to.
I'm not afraid to admit it. When I say yes and I don't want to, I burn with resentment. It keeps me awake at night. It hurts me. It hurts my belly. I burn with resentment. And it's like a loop in my mind. And it goes further. If I'm being disrespected in that moment, the loop then goes to nobody ever respects me. Nobody respects my time. Like it goes to a very deeply ingrained voice. And then I started to observe that. And I was like, oh gosh, saying no should be way easier than this, Saying no should be a lot easier. So you're fighting that. Yeah.
Right? Who's it serving?
Nobody.
Exactly. It's not serving anybody.
Yeah.
And then as I'm getting into menopause, because I've been in it for probably about 9 months to a year. I was in peri for a couple of years.
How
Now,
old are you, Angie?
I'll be 52 in a week.
Okay, so you've just 2 years. When did you have your last period?
I had a hysterectomy 15 years ago.
Okay, so that's a good one for people because my perimenopause, for the 4 years of perimenopause, my period was jumping every 3 months. 72 days was my jump for 3 years. And in the fourth year, I did a 6-month jump. And then I had what was my last period. You're not in menopause until you've done 1 whole year without a bleed.
Interesting.
And so technically, my perimenopause, the 4 years prior to fully stopping, was the worst time for me. By the time I got to menopause, I was on hormones. But my 4 years, so the fact that you're just saying I've been through peri, you obviously are going to, get through this next phase, hopefully as well as you got through peri.
Let's hope so. Shelly only had 4 major hot flashes in all of her menopause journey. And the only symptom I knew of menopause, like you were saying, the lack of education around this is staggering.
Yeah.
I knew about hot flashes. I did not know about the brain fog or the irritability or the lack of
the
sleep.
38 other symptoms.
Yeah, it's like, how come nobody talks about like
tinnitus, frozen shoulder,
cortisol poisoning. Yeah.
People are putting pins in the back of my ears, like at night.
Joint pain. There's so much that and it's like, how did we not know? How come every time I'm getting a new symptom, it's menopause? I just thought I was falling apart.
I'm not a doctor, but I did learn this in menopause, and that the one thing I've learned is hot flashes are very uniquely tied to your blood sugar. So if you eat sugar before bed and you have a sugar crash during the night, you're going to wake up having wicked hot flashes. Red wine does it, like lots of things. Now, if you fast before bed 3 hours and if you do eat before bed, eat some protein. Like, we're not athletes, but if you did do that, you don't have any hot flashes. And the one thing I noticed was if I get super hungry, so if I just am like miss lunch by 2 hours and I'm running to get food because I'm so starving and I just scoff down a sandwich, I have a massive hot flash. And that's because my blood sugar is just peaked.
Yeah.
And so if you have hot flashes after food, it's 100% blood sugar. If you have hot flashes through the night, look at what you ate before you went to bed. And you can really help your hot flashes by evening out your blood sugar. And so I don't know, Shelly, you might have more regular blood sugar than I did.
Yeah, I was, at that time, I was eating like a keto diet. So it was very protein forward and not a lot of sugar. So that maybe could have played into it without me even knowing.
I had no idea that those were tied.
Well, I've been reading a lot about menopause and it keeps coming up in the education. It first came up in Dr. Mary Claire. First, it was about the inflammation and then it was sugar-based hot flashes. And then I started to just notice if I have a hot flash, and it's very rare that I have them, it's always blood sugar. I either didn't eat and then I ate too much too fast, or I was super hungry and I chose something like lasagna, which is high carb, which is going to drive my blood sugar up. Then I just have an instant hot flash. So like I said, not a doctor, but I've been reading a lot and I've been watching people have hot flashes and it's always around blood sugar.
Yeah. Well, insulin, like being insulin resistant, that comes out way more during menopause because insulin is a hormone and it's one of the ones impacted, one of the ones that's changing. So it totally makes sense.
That makes sense.
Because you stop using your insulin as efficiently and it stops being produced efficiently so that absolutely makes sense. That could be causing sugar-related hot flashes. Oh my gosh.
So what was the most surprising part of menopause for you? What was the one that was like, holy shit, I was not expecting that?
That nobody would like me or support me.
Isn't that interesting?
Because they didn't know what I was going through. My husband didn't understand. He never even heard of perimenopause. I was just hearing it for the first time and he was never heard of it, right? I was just so overwhelmed. So I couldn't manage anything. I'd be overwhelmed going on a lunch meeting. Like just the overwhelm and the anxiety was so brutal. And when you're like that, no one wants to be near you. right? You're just a hotbed of rage. And I felt like I lost everybody close to me really quickly. My best friends, I couldn't communicate to anybody how I felt. I just wanted to scream and cry and die of shame and hide away. And I just was so weird, and it was such a horrible time. The good part was, as I started to learn about it, I just started to transfer all the knowledge to my husband, because I was like, babe, you need to understand I'm going through something, and this is something you didn't sign up for. I never signed up for this either. This doesn't happen to everybody the same way. Everyone's different, but this is hitting me really hard. And I wasn't prepared for, like I have a lot of staff and an audience, and I couldn't manage it, couldn't manage people. I was just so overwhelmed, and it made me freak out. Yeah. It was very hard to manage my internal self and to talk myself through it. So if anybody's going through that feeling of just being so overwhelmed, like nobody understands, nobody's giving you grace, it just means that you're probably like me, you're a dark cloud, and it's hard to get near a dark cloud, right? It's real energy that you're kind of tiptoeing around, and you see people are on eggshells around you, and that makes you more anxious. So I wasn't prepared for that. And I wasn't prepared to ask people for grace. And so I started to ask. I started to say, I'm in perimenopause and I'm suffering. And I'm really like, I need help. Like, this is not right. And I shouldn't be here. And I would just apologize to all the people I worked with. And I would just sit with them and just talk it out. And luckily I kept all those relationships. But I think if you're there, or God help any of us, suicidal or depressed, go and get some good help. But don't just go on antidepressants. That's what they used to give women with menopause. They just give them antidepressants. Get on hormones and learn more about what you're going through, and it will pass. Ask for help and reach out to other women that have been through it, because they're the only ones that are going to be able to help you and understand you.
That is so true.
That is so powerful. And when you were saying that, I was like, the last few years, I felt so different. I felt like I was having an out of body experience, and I was watching someone that was not me. And I remember feeling like I'm not even likable. I don't even like myself. And I usually really love myself. I think I'm amazing and awesome.
You are.
And I was like, but you truly do feel like it's not you anymore, that something has overtaken you. And how do we not all know that this is coming? It's so underexposed. It's so not something we just have these big
it's a hush-hush thing,
conversations about. Yeah, it's like,
when
why
I first went on hormones, I take a hormone every day that has progesterone, testosterone, and estrogen in it. And when I first started, I got the pellet, which I don't recommend. They cut a little slit in your bum and they put a pellet in there and they stick a little sticky on it, and it works for 3 months. It distributes hormones in your body. These pellets have been around for many years, but I was over-medicated on the pellet. They can't manage the dosage very well. And also the little cut in my bum, for some reason, my inflammation was extremely high during perimenopause. So I had chronic pain. I'd get like really painful, like little cuts, and every 3 months I'd have another one. I went to go and get a pellet put in, and my husband had to drop me off this day. And he was just going to go to a cafe and have a coffee. And I said, do you want to come in to the OBGYN? And he goes, what? And I said, do you want to come in and see what I'm about to do? And he goes, yes, I do. So I walk in, and there's 3 women in the waiting room and 2 nurses reception nurse behind the counter. And I say, hi, my appointment. I said, can my husband come into the appointment? And all 5 women in this room were like, and both the nurse and the receptionist were like, yeah, if you want to. Like, almost like it was so bizarre that I asked. Like, what, we don't take your husband to the OB? You take him when you have a baby. You don't take him to your OBGYN? No, you don't. So we go into the room and I show him the table, the stirrups, everything before she walks in the door. I'm like, this is how this works. This, my leg goes up here. And this goes here and this goes in here. And he was just all like, whoa. And then, of course, I flip over on my tummy, pull my pants down. She cuts me with what he described as a crafting blade.
Yeah, like an X-Acto knife.
He was like,
Yeah.
she used a crafting blade. And I was like, no, I'm probably surgical. But anyway. And he watched the whole thing and it blew his freaking mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I said to him, I'm not going to hide stuff from you anymore. Like I don't know why your generation didn't learn this shit. When we first started dating, he said to me one day, is your friend still in town?
Oh.
And I said to him, babe, my period finished 2 days ago. Like, you can say, do you still have your period? Like, you don't have to say, is your friend in town? And he looks at me and he goes, no, is Alice still in town?
You're like, we can talk about the period. He's like, I'm talking about Alice.
Literally talking about
Alice. And like, is Alice still in LA? And I said, oh yeah, she's here till Thursday. But it made me realize he didn't even say period, and he knows nothing about periods. Nothing. He's 50, he knows nothing about periods, didn't have daughters. So I was like, okay, I got to teach it. And so I talk about periods like to teenage girls. I said to a teenage girl the other day, have you got your period yet? And she was like, yeah, we're just talking about it. And then a boy walked in and I kept talking about periods because I was like, these boys need to learn.
Yes.
Know
We need
about
to
menopause
normalize
and
it.
periods.
Yeah, it is normal. It's why
It
are we
happens all
hiding
the time.
this?
Why are we not talking about it? And the same with menopause. It's like, that's why none of us knew what to expect because we just don't talk about it. And it's bullshit. And that's why we're doing this.
All these women that are committing suicide, like giving up life because they're at a breaking point in their hormones and they don't even, I can't fathom that. I can't fathom that you would be so alone through this. And the sum of your life would be enough for you to want to end it. Like, it's just what I'm going through and what I've been through that horrifies me, that at a time where women need the most amount of support, they're the most amount invisible, like online and marketing and
With forgotten demographic.
Yeah, we talk about feeling invisible and disposable and irrelevant. It's like because we're not young and pretty anymore.
Yep.
Like we still have many years left to go in front of us, and I just refuse to be invisible.
So, biologically, we're experiencing something in biology that is really fascinating. The biology that fascinates me is a girl that is ovulating is more attractive than any other girl in the room. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the biology for men is the strongest seed with the strongest egg. And for girls, we change our periods when we're together to compete with each other to be the strongest egg. So our bodies are doing this. That's why women get instinct.
That's why you think up.
Yeah. And so when you go through perimenopause, you no longer ovulate. So you're no longer attractive to the opposite sex. It's a fact. You're not attractive when you're not ovulating because you simply cannot reproduce anymore. You're not putting out all your attraction hormones. You're not ovulating. You're not the strongest egg in the room. In fact, you're the old stale egg. You got no eggs, right? So on a biological basis, after 50, you are out of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, that's where we started talking about you're more than that. Like you have to go, it's like you're a salesperson and you have to go out and market all these other wonderful qualities that you have. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is such a hard sell.
Qualities we never valued while we were spending our lives trying to value having a better body so that we could be sexually attractive, so that people would want us, so that we would be relevant. And so we spend all this time on how we look. And then all of a sudden, once we're taken out of the game and we can finally be ourselves and we can finally do what we want, how we want, then that tells me that being over 50 should be the most liberating, incredible time of our lives. And I am on this mission. I've been on a mission. When I was 10 years old, I told my mum that my life would start when I was 50. And she said, why did you say that? And I said, I don't know. I just know it's true. And then when I became a photographer, I was always so obsessed with older women because they have more money. And they were the ones that really wanted the experience and to pay for it. So it's like the young ones were cool. They were hot and easy to photograph, but they never paid anything. The older ones, they treated it like the most incredible experience on earth and paid for it, and I could transform them. So I'm on a mission to empower women over 50. I say I'm so glad I'm not in the game anymore. I don't want to compete on how attractive I am. I don't want to be 25. Like, I have arthritis, really bad arthritis. I'm not trying to be 25 years old. I stopped Botox and I don't have filler, and it's now coming to my natural face, and I really like it. I'm like, I want to embrace this 50 plus, but not try to worry about the things that I worried about in my 20s, 30s. And like, am I slim enough? Do I dress properly? Like, I'm more about what I want now and being completely free to do what I want. So yeah, I'm all about empowering this 50 plus lifestyle.
Agreed. I just put a post up, I think yesterday. It said it was one of the things going around on social media. It said, this is what 50 looks like. And I put, this is what 59 looks like. And my 50s were the best decade of my life. I learned the most about myself. I grew the most. I stopped caring about things that wasted my time. And I'm like, I'm excited about what 60 is. I hope it just keeps moving forward. And I think that is what we're really trying to put out in our podcast. And when we're in social media, is empowering people who are in this phase, this season of their life, to realize you can actually become so much more.
Yes.
You're not bound by everything you used to be.
And what's interesting is we thought it would be a mostly or all female audience, but we have a lot of male following. And they're asking, how can I support my partner?
Which we love.
What can I say? Like, what can I do? And I was like, you know what the most attractive sentence is? How can I help?
Yeah. What do you need?
I don't like either of those, because then it requires me to say what I need help with and what I need.
Fair.
And that's the problem with me, is I was unable to say what I needed help with and what I need. What it was for me was, I am reacting to you from a place of extreme hormones, like reaction. What I need you to do is be the rock, the calm one. Because if my reaction causes you to react back to me, like I would raise my voice, he would fight back. That's not what I need in this moment. I need you to be the rock. And I know that's going to be hard, but you have to hear what I'm saying and just breathe and just let me calm down. If you react to my thing, it's going to be way worse. That's what I needed. I needed him to like not make it about himself and make it about menopause and just go, okay, she's in menopause, she's overwhelmed right now. But he would react to my, he'd want to fight me.
Sure, because nobody knows what's going on. So everybody's
and don't
escalating.
Square up to a woman that's menopausal, because like I will cut you. Like not only will I cut you, I will say something that will destroy your life, and I'll do it in 3 sentences, and I will destroy your life. Like, don't come at me. Like, this is the worst time to come at a woman.
Yeah,
I'll relish in
it.
I'll relish in it. My husband the other night turned off the fan in the middle of the night because he got too cold. The rage that I felt in that moment, Sue, was like, everybody needs to pray for Jeff. I was like, I'm sorry, you did what? The fan that was blowing on me, the cold air, you were chilly.
It's so unreasonable, but it's so important.
It is like, we might have to sleep in different rooms until this is over.
Oh my God. One of my best friends was telling me, she was like, we stopped at the gas station and he says, what do you want, honey? And I said, can you get me a bag of chips? We all eat the same bag of chips. We all have one bag of chips that we really like, right? Just one bag of chips. And he comes back with a different type of chips, like not like yellow Lays. And she was just like, they've been married for, at this point, 20 years, And she's like, I just lost it. I just lost it over this bag of chips. These are not the chips that I want. The kids are in the back, like scared and everything. And her husband's right there. She's telling me this story. And she's like, he just came in with like the wrong bag of chips, you know? And I said, but I get it. You've been married 21 years. He should know what chips you eat.
Yes. Yes.
And I said that, and they were cracking up, and he was like, oh, and I was like, don't make any mistakes, dudes. You can't make any mistakes.
Not the time nor place to be making that mistake.
No,
Yes.
like, how could you not know? Like, I would feel rage in that moment right now. Like, how do you not know what kind of, it's
so stupid. And I said to my husband right from the beginning, if we're fighting about the dishes, it's not about the dishes.
Nope.
Okay. So if we're fighting about little petty things, that's not what we're really fighting about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's manifesting through that, but that is not the dishes aren't the problem. The chips aren't the problem.
Not the problem.
And how has George handled it and assimilated? Like, has he done well in
Brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant.
Her husband's lovely.
Yeah,
That's
he did.
true.
He did it. He comes up trumps for me because he keeps showing me that he's evolving in our relationship. He shows me that, blows my mind. All you ever want is someone to keep up with you. I want to keep evolving. I want someone that wants to evolve. I hope they evolve with me. If he wants to evolve in a different direction, I hope he has that. I wish that for him. I wish evolution for everybody, but I want to keep evolving as a human and in my relationship, and I want my husband to keep evolving with me. Yes. So he just keeps evolving, and, he's learned some really big, hard lessons through all of this. But again, I don't feel sorry for him. I'm the one that was in menopause. I'm not
he
giving.
He doesn't have to do this. He doesn't have to do the physical part. He
just had to live with me.
Yeah. I know.
You should be so lucky, Sue. Come on.
But that's why we need to drag men into this uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's why we're so happy. Like we said, men are showing up. And I think it does show that the world's a little bit different than it was like when my dad was going through this with my mom. This just wasn't talked about, and it was an embarrassing thing, and nobody talked about it. So I think the world hopefully is evolving, or at least maybe this generation
it is
coming up. It's going to make all the difference moving forward.
The generation before us did not get hormones, and if they did, they got cancer. So our generation now, we've got different hormones. It's all different. They know that if you get on estrogen earlier, you have like a 78% less chance of having any problems. But the generations before us got a lot of dementia. Yeah. They got a lot of rotting in a hospital bed for 10, 15 years with no brain because they were not given estrogen. And that generation of women did not eat fat because they were told to eat fat-free. So they had sugar brain, and then they had menopause brain. They were given no estrogen, no testosterone, no progesterone to protect all their bits. Our generation is going to be different. Well, we will keep our brain capacity, and, we just got to keep our strength then to stay physically mobile. But it's really changed. So much has changed. Medication has changed. The way we talk about it publicly. There's podcasts now, and anybody that's going through it that doesn't know anything about it, just learn as much as you can.
And it's okay to ask the questions.
Yeah.
It's okay to ask the questions.
Yeah.
Sue, I just love you to the ends of the earth. I have so much respect and love for you, and you have been such an influence in my life, and I'm honored to call you a friend now.
Yay.
It means the world that you came on.
Oh, this was so fun. I could talk about menopause all day. Are you kidding?
Good. I know. That's good because we're going to make you come back.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a big one, like everything about it, right down to I lift weights 3 days a week. I don't want to. I don't like going to the gym. I pay a trainer to lift weights, and it's changed my life, my body, my chronic pain gone, my arthritis is down. There's so many things you need to do for yourself, for your body, for your health, for your balance, for your boundaries, for your self-care. And I feel like what menopause really does, it wakes you up to all that work that you have to do in your 50s. It's like, here, girlfriend, kids are growing up now. time to take your time back, time to take your body and health back in a way that you want it. It's time to take your course of your life back, and it's time to manage who's in your life, cut out who you don't want. Like, menopause makes you do all of these things.
Yes.
You don't stand for people in your life that breach your boundaries. You don't want to do things you don't want to do anymore. You don't hold on to relationships that don't serve you anymore. You get to a point where you have zero fucks because you're 50 years old, and you just learn to say no. You learn to say, you just, to me, it's the wake up call we all needed in our adult life. So once you get past the horrible stuff, then you're literally in your mid 50s going, this is not that bad.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
it's really like a second puberty, because our brain has to recalibrate. You know, teenagers that are in puberty are impossible to be around. And it's because your brain is calibrating to all of these hormones.
Oh, they're such wankers, aren't they? And they're so selfish and self-centered and smelly, and they hate people, and they say horrible things. You're exactly the same. Yeah, you're just a teenager again with all those angsty hormones going, just hot mess of hormones. But you're in a different body with different responsibility. You have financial responsibility and businesses and careers and children and other people. So it's way more stressful than being a teenager.
Yeah,
totally.
Absolutely.
But it does feel like a second puberty.
Well, I think after puberty, you have a sense of freedom because you're going to become an adult and you're going to go off and start having your own world. And I think that is a rebirth in your 50s for women. It's the same thing you just mentioned.
Right.
After we go through all this, we're going to feel empowered. We have to bring something positive out of this. You know, it's like you want to come through the war and have something, you know, at the end that's a rebirth.
So do you think that all this, we don't see women in the media over 50? Do you think it's because once they get to 50 and they're in menopause, we don't want to be seen?
Oh, absolutely.
Really? And now that we understand that 8-year period of perimenopause to menopause, and that we're going to be postmenopausal until the day we die, and we can be on hormones until the day we die, we now don't need to hide anymore, because now we're actually just go through a tough time. Now we understand it. We're not going to hide and disappear now. Now you're going to see more 50-year-olds stay in the media. You know, somebody said to me the other day, thank you for still posting lots of photos and videos of yourself. A lot of older women don't. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, good. Yeah. I want people to keep seeing my face with smile lines and, you know, stuff like that. Like, it's important.
Yeah. It's like feeling, I think we should all have the ability to feel relevant and important and seen until the day we die.
Yeah.
This is not stop at any point. It shouldn't stop when you're 70. It shouldn't stop when you're 80. It's like we all deserve this human experience of feeling like we matter. And that doesn't have an age on it. And I think we're going to see that becoming more of the feel. That's what I hope. And people like you, Sue, are making that happen for other people. So, you know, kudos to you for making it through this, you know, war. We'll call it the menopause war.
Right, the menopause
and coming
war.
out and sharing. We so appreciate you doing that with us.
Thank you. Look, it's a tough time, and some people will have it tougher than others. A really close friend of mine posted, she's into fitness, that if people are going through this and they're not doing it naturally, they just need to suck it up and go to the gym. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did get to say to this friend, I understand that what I'm going through is not what you have been through, but what I went through was really, really tough.
Significant.
Yeah. And I said, and there are factors to, like I said, neurodiversity, the stress of my career. There's factors as to why it was harder for me. But now that I know what they are, I can communicate to other women. And I also said that to 3 other women that were like, well, I don't have rage. And I said, well, you're going to lose your hair and you're going to lose all the collagen out of your skin, and your moods are going to be greatly disrupted, and so will your body weight. So if that disrupts your mood, then that as well. Those things will happen. Everything else is hopefully you won't get them. I said, but just understand that if you have mild symptoms, there are some women that are going through extreme symptoms. And it made me, of course, more compassionate, more empathy for all women over 50, but to understand it's not hard for everybody.
I love that.
You're going to have your own experience. It's going to be unique to you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know what I just realized? My little ADD brain is percolating back here. This is episode number 42, which if you watched Hitchhiker's Guide is the meaning to life.
Yes, this is it. We did the meaning
just
to
realized
life episode.
42. That's so
That's
funny.
perfect.
Okay, I have this thing. What is the meaning to life? When people ask me what is the meaning to life, I say the answer is in the question. It is to find deep meaning. So Viktor Frankl wrote, but Viktor Frankl's book is, what is it? So his famous quote is, in the absence of joy, man seeks pleasure. So when we can't have what we truly want, we seek pleasure, which is in dopamine form. But that truly it's, I'm trying to think, what is this book called? I'm going blank. Brain fog.
Google it and
Yeah.
have it read. Yes.
But it is just one of my absolute favorite sayings. It's actually a brilliant book too, because he wrote it he was in a concentration camp and then he wrote it. He survived. And he wrote that you can find deep meaning. But finding deep meaning in your life is the meaning of life. And it truly is, what is the meaning of life is to find deep meaning in life. I always think about that. And I was just like, so find whatever it is and also my biggest message would be, especially to women going through menopause, is if you're losing yourself and you're losing the sense of your body, you're losing the sense of your mind, and in terms of you just feel like your body is betraying you and friends and family are not loving and supporting you, this is a call to self-love like no other. And it is a call to self-care and self-love like you've never had before. And your life depends on it.
Yeah, literally. It does. I mean, it's that big of a thing. We need to make it that big of a thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, do you see why I love Sue so much?
Yes, absolutely.
Sue, thank you for being here. This is like, what an absolute honor. What a fun conversation. What a needed conversation.
Yeah.
We're honored to have you as our first guest. And you know that I love you to the ends of the earth.
Yay. Oh, thank you so much. It was so great to meet you, Shelly. I've spent years with Angie. And I'm so glad you guys are doing a podcast together. There's nothing better than just rapping with your best friend with people and talking, shooting the shit and talking about cool stuff.
Just having fun. Yeah, exactly.
She recognized that I was in depression. And she said, we're going to start that podcast that we've been talking about, because then I can check in with you at least once a week and make sure that you're doing okay.
Remember, the depression is the depression of the self constantly and denying the self. And when you speak and use your voice, you cannot deny the self.
Yeah.
So often, if we're speaking untruths, we can deny ourselves by being untruth. But when you're honest and you're truly honest with yourself and what you want and how you want it, you can't suppress yourself anymore. And also, we know that depression comes from rage, suppressed rage. And it's hard to manage rage when you're going through menopause. But the thing is the next step down, of course, is sadness, is grief. So once you work down all those layers, and it's just really hard to work through all those layers of self when you're in menopause. So it's like I have the added sort of stress of having a brain that's incredibly overwhelmed and that's not processing the way that it should. Mm-hmm. And, it's just so much. So speaking to me and having conversations is so healing, and inevitably it will help lift up all of that block stuff.
And I think for me, just kind of shining the light in the shadows, as you say, like just kind of bringing it to light, like I'm having a rough minute and I need some support, instead of trying to mask and like everything's okay. Like it's okay to say I'm not doing well right now and I need to.
Yes. Yeah. It's also, especially if you have had depressive episodes, it's okay for you to tell people I'm having some depression or I am in a depressive episode right now and I'm managing it. You can say I'm managing it or I'm not managing it, but I think it's okay that we start speaking like that.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm intentionally doing.
Yeah. So it's very common for women in perimenopause, Angie, to go on antidepressants. And this is something that, like Dr. Mary Claire online, they're all talking about, is why are we just giving women in their 40s, over 45, just giving them depression medication when they're all perimenopausal? So people are going to experience a lot of depression when they go into their perimenopause. And if you've had depression before, it's going to freak you out, because anybody who's been depressed in the past fears getting depression again. They fear their brain chemistry going to a place where they can't lift out of it. And I've never had depression, but I got anxiety, which I would assume is very close cousin to depression. You know, I just got this massive anxiety, and it took me about 3 years to work out what it was.
Yeah.
So it's either going to be depression or anxiety, I think, if it's really hitting you mentally. So you've got to be ready for those two things, because like you are overwhelmed by depression, Angie, I am overwhelmed by that feeling of just, it's anxiety was just so intense. All of that has gone now. Like I'm 54, turned 54 3 weeks ago. I have not an anxious bone in my body.
Yeah.
Good girl.
Amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
Stay that way. Yeah. Keep doing that. Yeah.
Love that. Yeah. This is the first time I've been in depression or had any form of it. And for me, it has manifested as I just don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to do anything.
So I really want you to hold the narrative of I don't have depression. I'm in a depressive episode, or I'm in a loop of depression right now, but I don't have it, right?
Mhm.
I'm just experiencing it. But also, it's really, really important that you understand that this depression is coming from your perimenopause. You know, like it's all your hormones flipping out and everything. Because when you start to say, I've experienced lots of menopause symptoms, depression being one of them, you're not giving depression all this power. Like I'm depressed or I'm in depression. Like it's, otherwise it starts to become this label that you cannot escape out of.
Right.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't define you.
Yeah.
And let you know it's passing through. It's not a permanent thing. It's just going to cycle through.
You didn't catch it on the toilet seat.
Yeah.
It's just processing through. It's coming up, and you're going to process it, and then it will be less prevalent in your life. Like keep saying that to yourself, that this is perimenopause, this is menopause, this is a hard time. And because if you say that, you're going to keep reminding yourself this is a period of time you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
It's not permanent.
Yeah.
It's a short phase of the whole book that is Angie.
Yeah, it's not
and
who
I feel
am.
myself coming out of it now. I'm coming out of it. I'm just climbing out of the cave of like wallowing.
Mm-hmm.
And she has helped tremendously with it, just because we laugh our faces off every day. And that has been like, she can recognize if I'm having anxiety or having a panic attack, and Shelly knows how to pull me out of it. And she's
well,
like,
the thing is having these conversations, you're going to be so blown away by other people, how much they bring to the table with anxiety and depression and struggles. And once we realize we're not alone, it's a game changer.
It is. That is, I think that's been the biggest help for myself, and from what I've seen other people who have commented on the podcast and out on our socials, is saying, I listened to you for 5 or 10 minutes. It made me laugh, and that just changed my day around.
Yeah.
And it's like being with other people who accept you as you are in this moment, and who say it's okay that you're here in this moment. That's what people really need. And we used to not share those things in the past. And I think that's what's going to change things around moving forward, is people
having the conversations,
can have these talks,
I love it. Okay. So, Sue, we always end our podcast with a couple rapid fire questions that are totally random. It feeds my ADHD need for chaos. We don't know what the questions are going to be. So we would love to, how do we want to do this? We've never done this with a guest. Do we each want to ask Sue a question? Have Sue ask us questions?
I think let's each ask Sue a question.
Okay. And then if you want to ask us questions, you can.
Okay.
This is kind of our closer. Okay, you go first.
I always do a food one, Sue. So I always have to do a food one. So, Sue, are you a creme brulee person or a decadent chocolate cake person?
Ooh, I just had a French lunch yesterday at the French bistro here, and I saw that creme brulee. I would take a creme brulee over a decadent chocolate cake.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're my girl. That's me too.
Same.
For sure.
Creme brulee, 100%.
Yeah.
When you were a teenager, who was your celebrity crush?
Ooh. Oh my goodness. I had some real good ones. When I was really young, it would have been Bo from
Dukes of Hazzard.
We just talked about him.
with his blonde
gonna
hair.
marry him.
Oh my gosh, he would have been my first absolute teen crush as I got older. Gosh, I had so many crushes. Are you kidding? I fell in love with everybody on TV and movies, and yeah. Yeah, he's the first one I can think of. I remember watching Dukes of Hazzard, and he had that blonde hair, and I was just like, I'm in love
John
with him.
Schneider was the way.
John
Totally.
Schneider. Yeah,
Totally. Did you want to ask a random question?
A random question. How did you meet?
We were in a singing a cappella group together. And we hit it off like a house on fire right away. That was 16 years ago. We've sung in a cappella ensembles together, and we just knew right away that
our birthdays are 2 days apart. We're both Leos, so
wow. And it's unusual for Leos to be friends.
It is. It's like we let our queenness coexist. So
we both have a lot of masculine energy, and I think that's why it works. Because
so I have 7 Leo girlfriends.
Oh my goodness!
And none of them are friends.
And none of them are friends. Oh
no,
wow!
But they're all really good friends with me.
Yeah.
I'm a Gemini, so nothing to do with Leo. But when you said I recognized the queen in each other, all of those women have the biggest Leo energy. Like I've seen them walk into a room and I'm like, Leo. And all of them became friends with me instantly. And you know what I think that the common denominator is between all of them? I love their bigness.
Yes.
Like, you know how some people want to compete with it or feel jealous? I feel no jealousy towards their lion power.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm quite attracted to it as a friendship. So whenever I see women in that energy, I'm always like, she's going to be my friend. I find out they're Leos, right?
Yeah.
I said to my husband the other day, I described all of my Leo girlfriends to him. And I said, one of them is his sister. Oh. I said, can you imagine these women? And I said who they all were. And he was like, oh, yeah, they're powerful women. And I said, you know, they're all Leos. And he goes, oh. And I said, and none of them are friends with each other, but they're all friends with me.
Yeah.
I've even been out with 2 of them together, and they did not become friends.
Yeah.
But they are still my best friends.
Well, this is strange. That
Leo
we
women are just
so I don't know if you remember this, but the very first time I met you in person was at the 2019 Portrait Masters. And I was in line to get a folio review, and you were sitting with George at a table eating lunch in the big room, and you locked eyes with me, and you stood up and you walked over to me. And you said, hi, I'm Sue. And I said, I know, I'm Angie. And you were commenting on my hair because it was really big. And you asked if you could touch it, and you touched my hair, and you said, it's like your mane. And I said, well, I'm a Leo. And you said, I can tell.
All Leos have a mane. It's a fact. So all of those women that I just told you about have a mane. That's a certain type of hair. It's lion hair. It's like hair is a part of them. And so, it's always a mane. You can always spot a mane in a Leo. Oh, I reckon I can see Leo energy from across the room.
Yeah.
And
you literally stood up, walked over to me directly, and talked about my hair and said you could tell I was a Leo. So saying that you're drawn to Leo energy, that was literally the first conversation we ever had. Isn't that wild?
But Leos are so independent. That's why it's weird that there's 2 Leos, because I just never seen. Yeah.
I have a tattoo that she designed for me that says, don't cage the lions. It's a lioness, and it's like, don't cage the lions. So,
I like it.
Anyway.
I like it. Wow. Leo, that's great. Fire signs.
Yes. So we met at an a cappella singing group and hit it off right away. And now we're inseparable.
Yeah.
So,
which is great. We get along, our little pride of is right here.
The greatest gift of my life, young and old, has been my girlfriend.
Yes, absolutely.
It's everything. We need that tribe. We need the pack, the pride, we need our people.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I'm grateful that you're one of my people.
Yay.
Yes.
So Sue, thank you so much for being here. Where can people find you?
SueBryce.com, Sue Bryce Photographer on Instagram.
Follow her. You want to be with this person.
Everything that you need to know for self-value, money mindset, everything about like self-worth and how to build an empire, how to speak, how to build a personal brand, all of these things. I have watched literally every moment that she's taught online that's available. And she is the voice in my ear, which is something I'm eternally grateful for.
Yay.
So thank you again for being here,
thank
Sue.
you so much.
Thank you, ladies.
This has been another episode of Hot Flash Chronicles, and thank you so much for listening. We know that there are lots of things that you could be listening to right now, and it means the world that you're listening to us. If you have time, if you can give us a like, a share, a comment, a follow, and most importantly, if you could do a 5-star review, that would mean the world. So thank you for being here, and we will see you guys on the flip side.
Ciao.
Bye.
That's a wrap on this episode. If you laughed, related, or just need more, hit subscribe.
Check out the show notes to find us on socials and YouTube, and join our Patreon for exclusive extras.
And remember,
we're still hot,
just in flashes.